It's little known that the statue of Honest John Burke represents North Dakota in the United States Capitol. The statue stands as a testament to the life of an early North Dakota governor whose hard work, intelligence, and dedication to duty represents a man who was instrumental in ridding the state of political corruption.
John Burke shows that with a concerted effort, bossism can be put in its place. That if the people get cranky enough, that change can happen, which I think sometimes is quite comforting to know that change can happen or change will happen when good people get together. He arrives just before statehood. I think he arrives in 1888. And he's elected to the State House of Representatives, spends a term there, and then is elected to the State Senate. And he doesn't really shine. But if you look at his first, say, 10 years in public office, they're not symbolic of the man he'll become. This was a time that North Dakota politics were, for the most part, Republican, and for the most part run from afar by a man named Alexander Mackenzie. One of the things that Mackenzie did is he has this control over the railroads, insurance companies, banks, and he's able to divvy out the goodies. He's able to divvy out jobs, free railroad transportation, these sorts of things. And it's a pretty strong position. He's got power and delivers to the extent that he actually moves his personal residence to St. Paul and runs a dedicated telegraph line from the Merchants Hotel to the Capitol. So anytime Mackenzie wants or needs something, he could have a message sent directly to the state capitol. He delivers the Capitol. He delivers votes. All of the governors between statehood and John Burke are essentially handpicked by the Mackenzie machine. It's your turn. You've paid your dues. Fred Fancher, you've paid your dues. Roger Allen, you paid your dues. It's your turn to be governor. And basically you had to be a party loyalist. And many folks who were not part of the Mackenzie gang really felt locked out of the Republican Party. You start to see the Republican Party fracturing on Mackenzieism, and so you see a unity of individuals who are progressive Republicans and the Democrats joining together in the 1906 election to take out the Republican nominee who actually was running for re-election, Elmore Sarles. At the Democratic nomination process, when it comes time to nominate a governor for the 1906 election, Burke is nominated. People start referring to him as Honest John Burke. And part of it, I think, was his willingness to take on some of the undesirables in state politics, that he wasn't willing to be swayed by apparently some nice offers to go away. John Burke wins the election, not easily. This is considered to be quite the surprise to Mackenzie. Supposedly he gets into a fist fight in Bismarck, that how could he have possibly lost the governor's office, even though he himself wasn't running, but how could he possibly have not been able to control it? Burke shows that you don't have to be a party loyalist. In fact, he's the anti-party loyalist. And after that, I can't swear that every succeeding governor was upright, upstanding, and morally acceptable, but I think the governorship does elevate. It's a different John Burke that takes office in January of '07, then left politics in about 1905, 1906. He's just a different, something has changed in his political mindset. I don't know if you could take one point out of the Burke administration, but I think there's two or three that make it a turning point, and what it puts away and what it opens up. We see pure food, pure health, pure seed. Railroads are taxed more highly than they had been, making a contribution to the larger society. We see the creation of a traveling public library. I've always thought of him as the real voice of progressivism in North Dakota. We see, I guess it'd be a kinder, friendlier government, one that looks at its own people to what it can do to make things a little bit better for folks. I was in Washington, D.C. summer before last, and you've got all of these guys lined up. You've got, Washington and Jefferson and Robert Livingston almost in a toga. Everyone's looking pretty fine and fancy. And then there's John Burke. If you look at all those other statues, you go, that's North Dakota.
Prairie Mosaic is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund with money from the vote of the people of Minnesota on November 4th, 2008. The North Dakota Humanities Council, a nonprofit, independent state partner of the National Endowment for the Humanities. The North Dakota Council on the Arts, and by the members of Prairie Public.